Welcome back to the Thrive 45 Method podcast with me, your host, nutritionist Stacy Nicole Smith. And this is the space where we talk all things weight loss and wellness for the woman in perimenopause and menopause. Now, today we're talking about the hidden reason you are feeling tired, bloated, and gaining weight in peri and menopause. Now, you may have already felt like maybe you haven't changed anything and you're gaining weight seemingly out of nowhere. You don't understand what's happening. Or maybe you've been trying to lose weight and the things you used to do in your 20s and 30s are no longer working. And you just feel stuck and you can't figure it out. And what I see most women doing is, strict calorie restriction. And then it's not working. So you think, I must drop my calories lower and lower. Or cutting carbs, and that's not something we can stick to long term anyway, and carbs are necessary for a lot of things, thyroid function, et cetera. Or maybe you're doing intermittent fasting, but it's working for the guy down the street, but for a woman in peri or menopause, this is not the answer, and so you're getting frustrated it's not working. So why are you feeling so exhausted, inflamed, and stuck, and why is nothing working to get that weight off? Here's the thing. When we are experiencing these hormonal shifts, as we're going in through perimenopause, our estrogen and progesterone levels are fluctuating wildly, and then they start decreasing. At the same time, cortisol, or stress hormone, is going up. And what this is doing is naturally creating more inflammation in the body. So when we have more inflammation, that's going to make us feel all of the above. It's going to make us feel tired, bloated, puffy. It's going to make it more difficult to gain weight. So it really makes you feel like almost like your body's fighting against you. However, there are ways to work around it. So all is not lost. This is really good news. So here is why it makes fat loss harder. Inflammation. So because of these hormonal shifts, inflammation is happening. But the more inflammation we have, it can raise cortisol even higher. Now, cortisol is that stress hormone that's famous for putting fat on the belly. And of course, we all know the term menopause belly, right? Or maybe you're experiencing it yourself. So with more inflammation, raises cortisol even further, more belly fat. Now, it also, and this is a biggie, the more inflammation, this can make our cells more resistant to insulin at this age. So this can lead to more food cravings, more fat storage, less energy. But in essence, it's making our body less efficient at using our food and burning it off as fuel, and more likely to be stored as fat. So what do we got to do? What we don't have to do is drop our calories lower and lower and lower. So that's good news. What we don't have to do is eliminate carbs, and what we don't need to do and shouldn't do is intermittent fasting. Where we need to start is dealing with the inflammations. How do we do that? First things first, we want to stop eating inflammatory foods because this is just making it worse. And some of the biggest inflammatory trigger foods are ultra-processed foods. So if it's in a package with a bunch of ingredients you can't read, it is not for you. It is going to create more inflammation. So that's a simple general rule of thumb. So we want to avoid ultra-processed foods. We want to avoid as much as possible processed sugar, and this does not include fruit. Fruit is good. Let me go off on a tangent for a second. People demonize fruit because of the sugar. Here's the thing. Fruit has natural sugar. Our body needs this natural glucose, but fruit also has a high water content, and it has a lot of fiber. And this fiber slows the absorption of that sugar into our system, so we're not going to get these huge spikes. Okay, so it's got a lot of really good stuff, including vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, you name it. So fruit is a yes. That's also good news. Processed sugar, no. And the other one that is pro-inflammatory that you would want to really be mindful of and take a look at, and if you're really serious, avoid it altogether, is dairy. So we want to cut back on the inflammatory triggers. Biggest ones again are ultra-processed foods, processed sugar, and dairy. Then you want to add in more anti-inflammatory foods. And so these would be things like your leafy greens, which you can have unlimited, things like berries. Again, fruit is good. It's got lots of antioxidants and omega-3s. So walnuts are great, fatty fish is good, we want to look at anti-inflammatory foods. Additionally, as an added pro tip, you can focus on balancing out your blood sugar because that's going to help with inflammation too. And how to do this is quite simple. It's just basically focusing on protein at each meal and fiber at each meal. And that's going to help to stabilize our blood sugar and to keep our hormones balanced. And a general rule of thumb is aim for about 30 grams of protein per meal and about 30 grams of fiber per day. And of course, you also want to make sure you are hydrated. Most women are chronically dehydrated. It's the simplest thing to take care of. You want to aim for in and around 3 to 4 liters of water a day away from meals, and that's going to help with that. So just to quickly reiterate, the hidden reason that a lot of women at this age are feeling that fatigue and the bloating and you're just feeling stuck, it's inflammation. So when we get to the root of the issue and just look at dealing with that inflammation first, and truthfully, when I work with women one-on-one, and a lot of them will lose a large amount of weight in the first 1 to 2 weeks of working together, and it's inflammation. So it's not body fat that's coming off that quickly. A lot of it is just that water weight and inflammation that comes off almost immediately when we switch out what they're eating. So I hope that helps you focus on anti-inflammatory foods and don't trigger the inflammation with inflammatory foods. For more ways that I can help you, of course, please visit the show notes or my bio. We've got lots of free resources, paid courses, and of course, the more intensive personalized one-on-one coaching, which you can apply for through my bio or the show notes as well. And that one is certainly by application only. If you like the show, please subscribe, like, and follow to be notified the next time a new episode is released. We release episodes like this every week. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.